What are we doing today? Zeronius is home. This is his build. This is a GSR. He started painting it. Still got some more love to do this engine bay. What's coming right along. See this nice Integra radiator, double the size as opposed to the Civic single. Yeah, just for verification purpose, B18 C1. So this car's been overheating, so this head needs to come off. The head gasket's going to be changed. We think the thermostat's good, but that'll probably also get changed. I don't know if that has come in yet. This might be a multiple day project. I think we're waiting on the valve cover gasket, but we know the head gasket's here, so we'll pop this bad boy off. So you know what to do. Just give me 5 on my black hand side and let's go. All the spark plug wires are out and they're all clean. There's no oil on there. My housemate's really good at making sure that everything is sealed up. And I only really see, as I'm looking at the cleanliness of this motor, it's one leak over here, which could be...
It's valve cover.
It could be the valve cover gasket we said, because the O-ring should be good in the distributor, and this looks like it's sealed up real nice like. So we continue. We're just unplugging things, which is just a rapid succession. It's good to have 2 hands to do this. And valve cover is also ready to come off. Bam.
Yeah, it didn't tear my gasket, so I don't have to replace it.
Oh, perfect. We're reusing that gasket apparently. I'm not putting this in time lapse, but we're just going through, pulling things off. He got the intake off. I took the valve cover off. He's taking off the distributor. I'm going to take off the thermostat housing. And then I was working on these. I've had a lot of practice taking them on and off, as I've been learning to take engines apart. So I took a ratchet and I got all these loose. These are all 12s except for these are 10s. And then I'm going to use the impact to loosen them all. And that'll just take me a second. So it appears that maybe the distributor was leaking. It just has a little O-ring around the end that sometimes it wears out, gets hard, and the oil is able to blow by it, and also probably the valve cover. Of all things, I can say that my housemate keeps his motor very well lubricated. He uses a special blend of oil, which is substantially thicker than what's recommended, because Hondas sometimes are prone to leak, not like Harleys, but still it happens. So we popped all this stuff off. Like I said, those were 12s. These smaller ones were 10s. And then I brought this little mallet just to give them a little tap, tap, taparoo. And then once those were up, I was able to tip each cam and slide the belt right off. The timing and everything will be readjusted when it all goes back together. He was unplugging everything off the back. I need to export these DC Sports header off real quick. And then as the coolant drains, once that stops making noise, we should be able to lift this bad boy clean off. And I have a 14 on there, which I believe is what I need to pop off each one of these. And I'll loosen it with that little breaker bar. Then I'll zip them out all the way with the impact just to make it easy. It's been about 10 minutes. This is pretty quick work when you have 2 people working on it. I'm doing the most basic B stuff and he's doing the more technical stuff. About 35 minutes in. I think the fastest head gasket change we did was on my silver car right there in the O'Reilly's parking lot. We had the wrong head bolts. We had GSR head bolts in a B16 and they are a couple threads different, and so when torqued down it'll seal it first, but then it becomes much more of an issue. So last couple things before this is ready to pop off. I have all the head bolts all the way loose. Cams are out, of course. So the last couple things that are attached are the fuel line, which is now off, and there's one hose right there. And so I'm going to grab this, I'm going to gingerly lift up on it with care, and hopefully that's going to help break that hose loose. Or have another one if we mess that one up. So here we go. Head is off. Trying not to make this big of a mess and getting oil on all my stuff, but I wouldn't wear these clothes if I didn't want them to get dirty. So this is the head gasket. This shouldn't happen. I don't know what all this is. From overheating it. So this is why it's getting replaced. So yep. So we're on the right track. So let's take it over here. Ooh, not step on anything. Do I need the gasket? No, I'm good. But yeah, so that's how easy it is to get that bad dog off, and coolant should not be inside of those, but it's all right. They look okay. Besides that, we run high octane. I run high octane.
Yeah, I run high octane.
Yeah. So yeah, we just need to get something to
Oh,
clean.
the coolant that's here is only from when we pulled the head out.
Yeah, I figured. But I'm just thinking we need to clean up some carbon deposits.
Just gotta go faster.
That works. A little Italian tune-up. All right, so yeah, so we'll get this all cleaned up, and then we will do all that stuff in reverse order. I think this has been done. This has been seen, so I don't think you need to see it again from us. But this is just chronicling what we're up to right now as I wipe the oil off my legs.
Poor man's way.
This is the poor man's way of checking to see if there's any warping or if anything's off. We also have the feeler gauges out if we need them, but there doesn't seem to be any gap. And then I guess a very common leak also in Hondas is right here in this corner. So after this gets cleaned up, it's gonna put a little RTV right there. And then we have the new head gasket. It's a Feld Pro, fresh from the auto parts store. Here's the part number 9274PT. And that is for the 1.6, 1.8 Honda, which is that motor exactly. So of course the head's off, so also check that. Everything looks like it's shaping up pretty nicely. I was told that coolant must have been getting in here by how white it is, because I don't think fuel calcifies. That kind of looks like calcification to me, would be my guess. Even more carbon deposits in the combustion chambers, looks like. So you gotta run some sort of cool engine cleaner between this. All right, so everything looks straight, so we're clear to go back together. Then to get the head bolts back in, they're torqued in sequence, and then they also go in stages. I think it's 21 or 22 foot-pounds first, followed by, I think we did 60, and then the last is 63. And I think on the DA Integras, it is 61 is the finishing one. Yep, and we're just looking for that click to make sure we have it, and everything will sit back in its place and be plugged back in. This is going swimmingly, no broken bolts, and we're just taking our time, making sure everything's right in the right place. So for these, they also have a very similar torque sequence, but they only go to 20 foot-pounds of torque. So you have to listen, because on our torque wrench, the less pounds you are doing, the quieter it is. So I made that mistake with my engine. I think I over tightened some, but that's just a spare, and I'm sure we'd go through it again before we actually installed it into a car, loosen them and redo them. These ones only go down to about 9 or 10 foot-pounds, and I think that we feel safe doing that by hand. So we'll just lock those in. I'm gonna get the exhaust manifold back on, and Zero is just plugging in everything he can. One of the key things about doing the work yourself, that not that a shop would do a bad job, but you can find other issues. So as he was plugging in his engine coolant temp sensor, which just goes right in the side of the yeah, right there, that one, it's just free spinning, which means that it's probably not connected. The connection probably broke inside, and so that plastic piece is spinning on the metal piece when it should be fixed. So that's something that he ordered a new one. They're like less than $13, I'm pretty sure. I think I've ordered 4 of them just because every head that I was working on needed one, or I broke the one that was on there. So they're very easy to get, but this will be mostly buttoned up, and then I think he will have to set his timing. He said his valves are already set, so he wasn't having trouble with that, but this should be together post-haste. That might be a part 2, but I'll show you where we get to when we're done piecing it together. So this is where it ends. We're gonna get all the tools put away. As you can see, the sun is still setting over in the west, and once it drops behind that horizon line, it sinks quite quick and gets very dark. So this was about, I want to say, an hour's worth of time that we were able to get everything off, export everything, and then import it back on. Exhaust manifolds back on and tightened. All these are torqued down. These were in a good place and glued down on the bottom, so no point in taking it off. The valve cover gasket was still good, so we'll reseal that with some RTV, and that'll go back on. The distributor will go back on shortly, but it might be a good time to order a new O-ring just to make sure that's not leaking, plus the ETC sensor. This hose ripped a little bit, so he'll probably trim that because we got a little bit of extra space, because the Civic and the Integra are not exactly equidistant in length right there, so we have some to spare. Everything else is plugged back in. As you can see, the injector clips are on. and just a few more things need plugs like this, and the intake will go back on, but might as well leave it open for now. Throttle body or throttle cables going back onto the throttle body. So this is a pretty complete job and something quick to knock out after work. We both worked today, but we still found time to take care of something, because to blow a GSR, that's a sad day. So if we could take the time, take care of it now, a lot more fun will be in our future. So that's what we're doing. All right, fam, have a good night. I hope you appreciate this video. I know we didn't show a lot, but it wasn't a tech video. It's more to say this, we out here doing this, Hondas are still alive, as opposed to this is how you do every single thing, because that would have taken a long time, and we did not have a long time or a lot of light to use. So you guys have a good night.